Welcome back everyone, we are the 30th of June 2025. We're coming up to around about 7 o'clock in the morning, and today is going to be one of those hottest day of the year. It's going to reach up to apparently like 31 or 32, okay? It's nothing to do with climate change, okay? Don't give me that nonsense, I'm not believing that crap. It's just one day of hot weather, and it's going to go down in temperature for the rest of the week. And this is the thing I've noticed with heat waves. Back when I was a kid, heat waves used to last weeks on end, a couple of weeks of like 25-degree weather, and we just get one day of hot weather and the whole flipping England collapses and thinks, you know, CO2 is to do with this. Nah, please. But anyway, nevertheless, a brief catch-up from what's been happening for the past couple of weeks. Now, I haven't done any videos on my Cosmic Twilight channel because there's been no trails. One or two have been popping up, but hasn't done anything to actually like block out the sun. So it was pretty much pointless to do any updates really. So I'm just giving you an update so far. It's been like this. Mixed bag of Cirrus, a lot of like Cirrus Stratus and stuff, you know. What you've been seeing for the past, since the beginning of the year. So this is what's been going on so far, as is today is the hottest day of the year, according to the Met Office. And here is what it's saying at the moment, as you can see right here. So yeah, around about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, which is the peak time of the heat, should be around about 30 degrees. Let's point the camera up into the sky. Let's turn around and see what we can see in the sky. So far, I'm going to keep the camera nice and steady. And what we can see is clear blue sky. We do have a lot of this cloud cover coming in, as you can see right here. But we are early, and time will tell. So this is an indication there's moisture in the atmosphere. Every time we've got clouds, it's an indication there's moisture in the atmosphere, alright? But where they do the spraying or the persistent trails is above 20,000 feet or thereof, alright? And this cloud cover is a lot lower than that. So today is going to be a perfect day for the powers that be to block out the sun, or at least dim it, which so far they haven't done through my analysis. And this is a proper analysis here. I encourage you, if you're new to what I've been doing, go back to my previous analysis videos I've been doing, and you can see a lot of these trails. In fact, days like this don't really do anything in terms of dimming the sun. But nevertheless, it's not a failed experiment. We shall continue doing these experiments like today, because it's a perfect day to block out the sun, isn't it? It's going to be 30 degrees. And the powers that be can't allow that to happen, apparently. All in all, what have we learned in the previous months of me doing this analysis video? Yes, I've been doing these, tracking the trails of the skies and see what they actually do. And there's one thing I've noticed, a very common reoccurrence. Trails in the morning, small trails, and trails in the evening. I keep seeing it repeatedly. There's only very, very short trails like this. This is what I caught yesterday, you can see right here. It was just like one trail in the sky, and I was having a look through the satellite and I couldn't really see anything else. It just, for me, that makes no sense. Why are they spraying so-called, just these tiny little trails? Doesn't make any sense. You see what I mean? The whole purpose is to block out the sun. This is the premise I'm going with. Just be very careful what you're actually consuming in terms of information, because you're all being played here, okay? Because what I'm saying here right now is that these trails, okay, through my analysis, are not blocking out the sun. I've got to repeat this, not blocking out the sun. I've been holding this back for a while, and I just got to be me. I've got to be honest and truth to myself. Now, you don't find anyone in the chemtrail community do what I do, tracking the aircraft, see what they do, see what the trails are doing, and how persistent they're doing it throughout the day. Are they doing it throughout the day? Is it just in small little segments? Why are they doing it in the evening? If there's very, very short trails, if it's there to block out the sun, well, the sun's already gone down, you know, it's the evening, it's not going to come up until the morning. It's just questions you need to ask yourself, because the community just regurgitates, for instance, this.
You see in the skies what they're doing, and they don't even try and hide it.
It's called depopulation agenda.
I mean, we've heard all this stuff before. This is nothing new. That aspect of what this woman just said right here, the fact that this is all to do with depopulation. Well, if they've been doing it for 70 years, the population's been going up, not down. Do you see what I mean? People are not really putting two and two together. So here on the Cosmic Twilight, or Investigate with Nick, or follow me on Rumble, I'm going to do my true analysis and see what these trails do. And look, they're not blocking out the sun, and I doubt if they're therefore actually poison us and stuff like that. There are many other ways to poison us. There's no point spraying 25,000 feet up in the air. Do you see what I mean? You know, it's just, I think when you're in that woo-woo mindset, you don't really think rationally. I'm going to be honest with you. I was there once, you know. common sense, rational thought needs to come into the alternative movement. This is why I stepped away from it, from these people, because there's no rationality. There's just like no common sense. Calling yourself the truth movement, really? Dare I say more? Yeah, I can, because it's my channel. But nevertheless, I just find the information, what I've been told, that is there to dim the sun, and my analysis so far, that is not really dimming the sun. Again, if it's just one day out of 365 days out of the year, it's not there to impact climate change. Temperature is rising, weather is good. Fantastic, look at it so far. Coming up to 8 o'clock, yes, I'm going to do very short periods of like 15 minutes to half an hour segments, just to see what the weather is going to be like. I want to know whether or not we can see any clouds. Oh, we've got one small puppy little cloud there. And it's the cirrus. Remember when I said this? If you find cirrus, which are these clouds, you're going to find trails. And this, like I said, is a perfect day for the powers that be to work their magic. When you see some crosses in the sky, you never know. So yeah, so far it's looking really good, and the temperature's lush. Okay, but the weather is going to be fantastic, I can already tell. So, are we going to get a traily day? Time will tell. Oh no! I am back, and the clouds have covered the sky once again. This murky white blanket which we've been seeing, which is a very common cloud we see in England. It's a bit humid for this time. Even if the sun was out, the humidity factor would be there, but it's still very, very sticky at the moment. It's still early. What time is it? I think it's coming up to it's coming up to 9 o'clock, 5 to 9, and we're back to this crappy murky sky. Wasn't expecting this. Maybe it'll clear, maybe not. Come back in half an hour. Look, clear skies as we're coming up to 11:30. To a certain degree, do have some cumulus, but that sun is shining, baby. It's nice and hot. Probably a bit too hot for most people. Well, I'm one of them. But all in all, no trails whatsoever. Ooh. Okay, I am back. It's coming up to 12:30, and so far the temperature is rising. It's definitely getting quite hot at the moment. Really, really nice. So let's turn the camera around and have a look at the sky. What we've got here so far, as my camcorder is still fully functioning, it's on its way out. Seems to be okay. A quick glance across the sky. Look at it. Wonderful, beautiful. It is truly stunning today. And lovely sunflowers. But nevertheless, weather can change. So I'll see you in half an hour. Oh, so far, it's a typical British sky day. Bunch of puffy clouds, which is fantastic. So like I said earlier in the video, that the fact that the spraying of the skies, which I'm not denying, guys, this is it, I got to keep on saying this, it's just the experiments I'm doing proven to me that is not the ones that I've been seeing. And whether or not they've been doing it on a daily basis, well, it's kind of hard to tell if you haven't really tracked the radar, the satellite, because you do have mass amounts of cloud cover. Because bear in mind, what you're seeing in the sky and what I'm seeing in the sky at the moment is a very, very small portion. Very, very small portion of the sky. So, I mean, people don't realise how big the planet is. It's massive. The idea to actually block out the sun, I think you need to do it on a massive scale to really combat in dimming the temperature. It needs to be on a gigantic scale. And what I noticed is that these very small trails don't really do anything, and I keep on seeing them in the evening. There must be something there, probably something natural, guys, because these trails do disappear in the evening. As soon as that cloud cover goes, then the trails start going. And sometimes you see the trails just persist in the sky, and eventually they just disappear. That's from what I've witnessed and what I have recorded. But nevertheless, I am not denying chemtrails. I sound like a skeptic. And I don't mean to be, I'm just giving you a proper perspective. But the days that it is heavy spraying, trust me, I will get there when it comes to it. But for the time being, it's a missed opportunity for the powers that be to really dim the sun, because I would quite like to see that at some point. But yeah, in this, I think it's like 28 degrees. It's hot. It's flipping hot. I've got to mow a lawn in a minute. It's hot, it's flipping hot, I have to admit. And I'm wearing black as well, which don't bloody help. But anyway, cheers to everyone. Not a bad start to the summer. You can hear all the bugs. Well, they say the insects are decreasing. Well, I see a bunch of them over here. Don't know if you can see them, you can hear them as well. There's a flipping nappy on the floor. Bloody disgusting. Don't know if you can see all the bugs. There's quite a lot of them. I made a video, I think a couple of years ago, about, you can see like this rainbow effect in the sun to do with the clouds. Typical example is a photograph of it here. I think I just missed the opportunity, but I thought it was unusual, but it turns out to be a natural phenomena. And that's one thing I just had to learn over the years, is that the fact that, look, you're going to be wrong at some point, and it's just learn to accept it, you know. Our communities say that we don't trust science anymore. Look, I understand, guys, coming from a perspective where the pandemic really did shift the consciousness of what we thought was true. I'm talking about the people that, we call them normies, and I try not to use that word. I try not to put people in boxes the best that I can, even though I do slip up now and then. Even though I put myself in that category as well. But the fact is that, you know, okay, we understand that we don't trust science because we don't trust that they went to the moon or some sort of medical intervention. But just ask yourself this: do you believe that the Earth is round? Okay, if you do, there's obviously a science behind that, okay? And that's a mainstream science. So if you were like a hardcore conspiracy theorist, obviously you would say that the Earth is flat. There is like rational thought kind of goes out the window a little bit. But for me, you got to say, well, yeah, I do believe that the Earth is round. Obviously, because you've got photographic evidence of it. Whether or not you think that's actually true, that's all to do with you and your perspective. But for me, there is a science behind why the Earth is round. And that's a very mainstream science. Otherwise, you'd just be a flat earther. See what I'm saying? I think that's a psyop, that flat Earth. Either the people have just ran with the idea because they're linking bits and pieces together to say that the Earth is flat. I mean, it's very, very questionable for sure. But it's the way it's been presented. There's ways of selling an idea. And that's very common in the alternative movement. It goes for ufology, isn't it, when you look at it? So I think, primarily, I think this flat Earth stuff is most likely a psyop. Might be wrong. I have returned. It's just gone past 3 o'clock and it's coming up to the peak period now of the highest temperature of the day. And yes, it is hot. It feels like, well, according to, I have a little screenshot here you can see. It says about 31 degrees, feels like 32. It is hot, I have to admit, especially in that sun. But no trails, absolutely nothing. You know, days like this, you would expect them to do the dirty deed of at least make an attempt to block out the sun. I was actually quite looking forward to actually seeing the splitting of the skies. But nevertheless, can't complain. We have a beautiful day. So far, so good. So my prediction, this is what I think is going to happen. So I would say around about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. And into the evening, I reckon you'll start seeing trails being formed. Alright, that's just my prediction. Didn't see any this morning, but my prediction is that they will most probably see them in the evening, and that's my prediction. Time will tell. Right, I'll see you in a bit. I have returned once again, as we are round about, hold on, let me check the time for you peeps. Coming up to 4:30, and it is the peak of the temperature, so it's the hottest so far. It's hot, it's beautiful, it's lovely, can't complain now. I've just cut the lawn, so I do apologise, I'm a little bit sweaty, I do apologise. So yeah, it's actually been really nice today. Beautiful, bit of cloud, just to run through the time lapse, here we are, you can see through what has been for the past 6 hours, you can see, I can speed it up for you. Yeah, it's been amazing. Like, look at that lilies. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. Another missed opportunity for the powers that be, whoever that may be, who's in charge of spraying the skies. People point to this guy here. You know, we're just regurgitating what we see online, really, isn't it? But who knows, isn't it? You know, in fact, if you look here, this is the agency apparently are doing it, and for a further episode I'll be doing analysis into what these people are actually saying, because the spraying of the skies, they're saying, is to do with weather balloons. Their approach is weather balloons. I don't really think that's going to be feasible, or maybe it's a psyop to keep the community on their toes, and I talked about that in the Alien Addict show I did on Friday. I'll put the little notification up there so you can see. But let's turn the camera around and have a little look at this beautiful 30-degree weather. Yes, 30 degrees. And here is a sign that moisture is happening. These are very kind of smooth like clouds. Let's try and put a photograph on here so you can see. So there is a sign that there is moisture in the atmosphere, hence you can see the cloud cover here. Maybe, just maybe, we can get those trails forming in the evening, which makes no sense. At the time, I'll be doing boot camp. So today, as one of the hottest days of the year, no trails. Might happen somewhere up north or something like that. I'm not too sure. I can go check the Chemtrail Facebook page at the moment. But where I'm at has been absolutely beautiful, hot. Oh, but yeah, I've got boot camp later. I'll be sweating my ass off, which is going to be an interesting one. Nevertheless, I'll pop back in half an hour, see if we can see any trails in the sky. So remember I said in the evening there'll be trails in the sky? Most probably, but if we turn the camera around, that's exactly what you can see. See, it just keeps on happening. It just keeps on happening. Short trails, they're not like massive trails that are going from like horizon to horizon, like you can see in this picture here. But I did say trails may occur, even my prediction did say it would, and there we go. I am back for this evening, and it's coming to, it's just gone past 10 o'clock in the evening. Yes, it's still dark, as one can see. We had the trails, they went away. God knows where. But my prediction was right. I did say that, didn't I? Sorry, I just came out of the shower, my hair's all a bit like puffy. So I did say that, didn't I? That the fact that we will see trails in the evening, they might pop up because of the cirrus. Now it was a mixed bag today, wasn't it? Clear sky, it went a bit cloudy, completely cloud cover. 12 o'clock it started to break up and eventually became clear skies. But today was a mixed bag, but it was hot, very hot. And I did say the trails will persist in the evening. Just keep seeing it. You won't see any, you might see one in the morning, then nothing, and then eventually see the trails form in the evening, which makes no sense, doesn't it? If it's there to block out the sun. Let's just roll through the time lapse, see what we can find. Let's do a roundup of one of the hottest days of the year, which was the 30th of June, 2025. Yes, it was definitely a scorcher. You can see a photograph of me here, absolutely sweated my ass off during boot camp. It was one of the toughest ones I've done so far. But nevertheless, let's get back to the time lapse. And just before I click play, I did mention that the fact that there might be trails forming in the evening, which eventually it did. I was at boot camp at the time when this was all happening, so it'll be interesting to see what happened in my area. All right, so let's click play and let's just go through. So if I remember rightly, the morning was practically clear, wasn't it? We did have a bit of cloud that came in, and I think around about 9 o'clock ish, I think it was pretty much overcast. And I know for a fact there was no trails in the sky. Because when you get, there we go, that thick cloud cover, you can't see it because the trails are way above the cumulus, which you're seeing here. Let's just skip forward. And it came to around about 11 o'clock, it started to clear up, which we're seeing now. You can just about make out there is like this white hazy-ish sort of cloud. You can see that where the sun has been shining. So there is resemblance of moisture in the atmosphere, obviously because we're getting clouds that come in. But I have noticed, now I had to move the camera because it was like 32 degrees outside. in the full sun, it's probably a lot higher. So I had to move it because I don't want it breaking because it was awfully expensive. But there's still a nice shot, isn't it? It really produces this incredible effect. Do you know what? I've been finding clouds so interesting the past couple of years, and especially when I got this new time lapse camera. Well, it's not a time lapse camera; it's the Insta360 Ace Pro 2. If anyone's interested. Okay, perfect. I remember when I turned the camera around because we started to have this clouds. Now, I remember this point during the video, we start to see the clouds forming in the background, and I did say most likely the trails might end up coming into fruition. Let's see. Now, those two clouds there, I believe they're called linear clouds, and they just disappear. There we go. See them forming? Ah, there we go. Look, see? Trails. Just only one. Remember this, guys. You're only seeing very small trails. Oh, perfect example. Look at this. If I stop it, hang on a minute. There. Right. Okay. You would say that's a chemtrail, isn't it? And that's a chemtrail because we have a trail forming right here. I've just slowed this footage down so you can observe what we need to really analyze in the sky, because this is the misconception of what people are actually misidentifying in the sky, which I'm talking about the chemtrail community here. Obviously, we have a very, very small trail. It's so faint. See it right there. And you can actually see the shadow of it. Look, where my cursor is. There we go. See? So we've got the shadow from it because of the sun. Yes, that is spreading out. It's so small. They're very, very tiny. But this is the part you need to take in consideration. Look at the cloud starting to form in that area. That looks just like chemtrails. Look. Let's just go back. That there. Look. It just literally appears. This area here. Look. That looks just like this, the trail, doesn't it? Exactly the same. I would have misidentified that 100%. 100% I would have said, oh, that is definitely a trail in the sky. But now we know by observing the time-lapse camera that it's a naturally formed cloud. Look, and eventually parts of it dissipates to a certain degree. But in that area, you can see there is clouds starting to persist just in that area there. So there's a sign that there is moisture in the atmosphere. And I always see, I remember what I said in my previous videos, is that every time we see cirrus, you will get a trail, and therefore you normally get this like white cloud cover, or clouds start to come into fruition. And this is exactly what you are seeing. Primarily, through my research, I'm going to be honest, this is to do with moisture. Clear example was what you're seeing right here. It's how clouds are formed, isn't it? You can see the clouds are starting to come into fruition. Stunning, isn't it? Okay, at this time period, this is definitely the evening. It's probably about 8 o'clock. And yes, we have, once again, very, very small trails. Very small trails. Isn't that amazing? Look at the shadow on that. Isn't that incredible? Let's just go back. Look at that there. That's awesome. Once again, we're tracking the trails. Okay, obviously we have cirrus. And right here, we can see the mass of cirrus, and it's giving off the ray effect from the sun. Isn't that cool? But yeah, that is a typical cirrus, guys. It stretches out because there's super cooled ice crystal particles in the sky. Nothing to do with trails, all right? It's a naturally formed cloud. This bit here looks like trails, and it's not. It's a naturally formed cloud because it's where the cirrus is. Oh yeah, look at that. We've got the light reflection. And that is difficult to find out what a persistent trail. I would say this is, obviously we've got a trail forming there, but you do have this white haze around. Just remember that we just saw a cloud forming naturally and we misidentified it as an actual trail. All right. So here we have very small trails once again. That's a good shot. Just go back. It just goes to show that you get trails forming in the area of the white haze. A very, very recurring thing I keep seeing. You're going to find cirrus, you're going to find trails. And it could be short, thin, dense, see-through. It could be a mixed bag. Again, here we have another one, like right here. And this is coming way into the evening now, as the sun is going down. Huh. Yeah, look at that. Eh? Huh. Yeah, that is straight. That's probably, look, I'm going to be honest, that's probably a natural phenomenon. But look, it's a bit weird, isn't it? Look, it just, boom, changes. Coincidence? I think not. Isn't that crazy? That's given off a really strange effect. Oh, they've got a streak holder. Ah. Check this out. This is coming into the morning. So this is probably about 3 o'clock in the morning, coming into around about 4 o'clock. And check out the cloud cover on here. Not saying it's conspiracy. It just looks really, really creepy. So in conclusion, on the hottest day of the year, on the 30th of June 2025, did the trails in the evening block out the sun? No, it didn't. It would have been a perfect opportunity to do actually a geoengineering program, so the radiation management or modification, but nothing happened. You know, missed opportunity. Nevertheless, it was nice to have hot weather. And yes, I did complain because we're British and we always complain about when it's hot. No, we're just not used to it. But again, 30-degree weather does happen, but it is a rarity. It can happen like twice a year at the max. Okay. And we can't just point at it and going, that's climate change because it's your fault. You know, it's nonsensical, in my opinion. But today is a new day and it seems to be quite promising at the moment as I'm working on a new video. So follow me on the Cosmic Twilight and Investigate with Nick for further updates on whatever I do on videos I do. So follow me on the Cosmic Twilight and Investigate with Nick for further updates on trail analysis videos. I shall see you very soon. Take care.